Welcome to the Stay Free America Show, where we talk about the divisions within our country and the causes that make them. Today, we're going to submit a challenge to Kshama Sawant, City Council member of Seattle, Washington, to define why her version of socialism will succeed in the United States of America. Kshama Sawant is a self-described socialist and is trying to create a movement to remove capitalism and replace it with a socialistic government.
And last but not least, sisters and brothers, we need to build a movement not only to fight against Trump, but for a fundamentally different kind of society. A society based on equality, environmental sustainability, and solidarity. A society without racism and sexism and poverty. That's a socialist society. But we will not, of course, establish socialism in Seattle alone. But what we can do in Seattle is spread the example of our victories here, of our socialist strategy, and help build a powerful nationwide movement against Trump, against the billionaire class, and against capitalism. Solidarity.
This video was made to demand an answer from Kshama Sawant, City Council member of Seattle, Washington, to define why she believes her version of socialism will succeed in the United States of America. Council member Sawant, how does your version of socialism work? Your constituents should demand a fully detailed and complete plan of your socialist government and how it works. You should prove how a socialist government is sustainable, equitable, and how it will foster innovation and economic growth by removal of capitalism. Given that you are an educated economist, it should be easy for you to define the breadth and depth of your socialist economic plans. Councilmember Sawant, capitalism, in your opinion, is a system that creates the billionaire class that controls the population and oppresses the working class. You have said that you would confiscate Bill Gates' fortune for redistribution to eliminate economic inequality. You believe that the government should control and own businesses to ensure a more equitable distribution to ensure economic equality. I challenge you to explain how your version of socialism is different from the socialism in the world today, and specifically Venezuela. In fact, can you provide any examples where a total socialist country has succeeded? For example, why did the Soviet Union, a communist socialist country, collapse in 1991? Why did tens of millions die in Russia as a result of socialism? How can you explain the level of poverty and violence in communist socialist Cuba? What's your explanation of the failure of socialism in Venezuela and its current movement towards a dictatorship imposed by Hugo Chávez's successor, Nicolas Maduro? Many years ago, Venezuela was one of the richest countries in South America, with vast amounts of oil exceeding Saudi Arabia, and during that time they were a capitalist democratic society. When Hugo Chávez was elected to hold the office of president, he changed the country from a capitalist society to a socialist society. During the early years of the socialist change, there was a level of prosperity for most of their citizens. The citizens of Venezuela praised and loved Hugo Chávez for bringing prosperity to the masses. U.S. citizens such as Sean Penn and Michael Moore praised Hugo's success. It appeared that the Venezuela's change from capitalist society to a socialist democratic government was a success. But that all changed in many negative ways under a socialist government. Venezuela is completely different today compared to their prosperous past. Citizens are living in complete chaos, and some cities are labeled murder capitals of the world. There are massive food shortages. Venezuelans wait in extremely long lines to obtain food, and in most cases the stores run out of food, leaving families to go hungry. Just getting toilet paper is considered a luxury. Their universal health plan for all Venezuela's citizens is experiencing an 85% shortage of medicine and a 90% shortage of medical supplies. Venezuela's inflation rate is also out of control. The cost of foreign goods has soared in Venezuela, which is importing far less as part of Mr. Maduro's effort to conserve dwindling central bank reserves. By some estimates, the inflation rate could reach nearly 1,600% in 2017. Many economists say Venezuela's policies of state ownership, unfettered spending, subsidies, and domestic price controls are at least partly responsible for the crisis today. Councilmember Kshama Sawant, most likely you will not respond to this question because you will be unable to differentiate your version of socialism to Venezuela's version of socialism. History has shown us that a complete socialist society does not work and is an utter failure. Are you saying we should ignore the historical facts of the failures of socialism? Are you saying your socialist plan could not fail? Ultimately, you are trying to create a movement that clearly exploits the ignorant, weak members of our society. It's hard to believe an intelligent person, knowing the failed history of socialism, would ever pursue a socialist government.